All right, so hello, Robbie. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself? What did you study at university, and like maybe the company that you work for as well?
Yep. I'm Robbie Allen. I'm a senior strategist at Clemenger BBDO, which is an advertising agency. And originally I studied down in Dunedin at Otago. I did a BCom in marketing and a BA in film and media and communications.
Oh,
Originally from Auckland, studied down in Otago, and now I've ended up here in Wellington for the last 5.5 years working here.
how would you explain, I guess in layman terms, what you do to your friends and family and people in your life?
Yeah, that's a good question because it can be really hard to describe to people who aren't in the industry. I pretty much say as a strategist that it's my job to talk to people and do research to figure out what our clients need to say to their audience, and in order to change their behavior or solve a problem through creative solutions.
Mhm.
That's how I would sort of describe it, that it's I'm the one who kind of has to understand the audience and figure out what do they need, and what messages do we need to tell them to shift that behavior. But for the most part, it's kind of easier to just talk about the work that we've done that they might have seen, and just point to work like the stuff we've done for the Human Rights Commission or on road safety or for brands like Trade Me, and basically just go, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I do. And then it kind of clicks for people when they see the work.
So would you say that your role is very much research heavy?
Yeah, it's an interesting mix of kind of art and science. So it is a creative role, and we have to write creative briefs that inspire creativity from the teams that work on it and come up with the solutions. So we always say our creative briefs have to be creative. There has to be a launch pad for creatives to jump off. But then the science side as well, it needs to be based on research and data and like an honest understanding of what the audience needs and what the problem is. I love it for that reason, because it is kind of the midpoint between those two things. The art and science kind of go hand in hand in the strategy role.
That's really cool. I was just wondering what your role entailed when I saw it on LinkedIn and on the website. So, because I think this is what a lot of students are very interested in, how would you describe in 3 words your career progression from uni to where you are now?
I would say the 3 words that come to mind when I think about it is support, learning, and luck that come to mind for me when I think about that question. Do you want me to talk a bit about why I chose those words?
Actually, I it would be much better if people try to reach out and ask you themselves.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, gotta leave a little bit of mystery there. What would you say that your typical day at work looks like for you in your role?
In creative agencies, because we work on so many different problems for so many different clients, you're always wearing lots of different hats, and I guess stepping into lots of different people's shoes, to use 2 kind of clothing like metaphors, because you are jumping from understanding what one audience needs, in relation to a business problem, and then you're jumping to a social problem like climate change or road safety or something like that. And for me as a strategist, my day is split between a lot of those clients. So that's kind of the fun part, but the challenge in it as well is that you're jumping from one meeting where you're talking about one problem to another one where you've got a solution on the table and you're trying to work out how to bring it to life with the creatives. And then you might jump into another meeting and you're reviewing the work that's already been in market and optimizing it and improving it and trying to work out if it was effective or not. So we kind of run the whole way across the process, from understanding the problem in one meeting to creating a solution to measuring the success of that solution. No day is really the same, because you might be working with clients in one meeting, running to work with creatives and brainstorm something, seeing something go into market. There's always different projects at different points in the process, so you're always kind of jumping in between those things.
That sounds really exciting. It sounds like it's like a very stimulating role for you.
Yeah, it is, and it's a lot of fun. And I think because that's the nature of the work, is you work with a lot of kind of really passionate and enthusiastic people as well, who are all just trying to solve problems. And so the people you get to work with in this industry are, like make it, they really help lift it as well, because it's everybody just trying to work towards exciting solutions and things that we haven't seen before to try solve problems.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of difference, and the whole process a lot more enjoyable when you're around people who are equally as passionate about something as you are. Can you tell us a little bit about Insidery Co?
Yeah, so the purpose really is to create opportunities for anyone looking for career advice, to connect with a diverse group of professionals that have the kind of first-hand insight and inside word into what it's like to work in a bunch of different jobs and industries, and doing that to help them find kind of the career path that's right for them. I guess the problem that it's hard to know what you want to do for a career or a job until you start doing it. It's really hard to know what it is like when you're just looking from the outside, if you haven't had a chance to look inside and figure out what it's actually like, and whether you'll enjoy it, or whether the job description really matches up to what the experience is like on the inside and that sort of thing. So I guess Insidery, its purpose is really to connect people to the professionals that have that experience and can tell them what it's really like on the inside, and a chance to connect with people they might not otherwise have the chance to connect to and get that advice from. Basically, the way it started is I had presented to a group of uni students, and I gave them my email and said, reach out if you want to get in touch and find out a bit more about what we do at the agency and what the different roles are. And a bunch of people started emailing me and saying, I really want to find out more about the producer role or the creative role. And I just started kind of manually pointing people in the direction of some of my colleagues to find out more. And then I guess that was kind of the moment where I thought, if those people hadn't happened to be in that, lecture that I presented in and didn't come forward to chat, they might not have known that those jobs were on the table and something they could have pursued. So I guess that was when I just had that moment of realizing there needs to be a way for people to do this that isn't as awkward as kind of following somebody on LinkedIn and asking for their advice. It's somebody who's decided to come forward and say, I'm welcoming anybody to come ask me whatever questions they've got. So it kind of came out of naturally, it was just kind of something that was happening. And I just went, there's got to be a way to do this that can get it out to more people. And because when I decided I wanted to be in advertising, I was lucky enough to meet someone through a family friend who worked in advertising, and I was able to shout him a coffee and ask him a lot of questions about what it was like. And I was lucky enough to have a friend of a family friend to talk to, but not everybody does for every industry they might be interested in. So I guess that's where the solution of Insidery came from, is how do I help more people make those connections and find out about advertising, but also other industries, because hopefully it grows to cover lots of industries one day as well.
That's really useful. I remember when I was just thinking about marketing, I went to a uni event, and I was so surprised when I got to shout the person who hosted the event a coffee that there were actually so many like sub roles within marketing. Like, you're just not a marketer, you could be a lot of things. Yeah, so that's cool. And what you guys are doing, it's like super commendable, and I'm sure a lot of students would really appreciate it. Yeah, we're really excited about announcing it, and when we brought it forward to our executive team, they were just like, whoa, this is so cool. Yeah, so cool. Can you describe very briefly how exactly students can go about booking a session with one of the professionals on the site?
Yep, so the way it works is that there's a bunch of insiders on there with their sort of full bios and quotes, kind of like that question you asked of how would you describe your job to people, so that you can explore the types of jobs that sound interesting to you. And then it's just really simple, just clicking through to the insider that you want to speak to's profile and hitting book a video call. If you're in the same city as the insiders and if they're open to it, we've organized some coffee meetings as well. Other times it's just via video call. And then basically we just line that up, get the two people in a room or on a video call, have them, ask their questions and find out everything that the insider has to share with them from there. Yeah, it's pretty simple. A few of the people on there, some of the insiders are overseas and stuff. So as long as we can line up people and get them on a video call, then yeah, it's all good.
And you mentioned earlier that you had plans to potentially expand this to other industries.
Started within advertising, media, communications. I see a dog in the background.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so advertising, marketing, design, comms, and media, just as a starting point, because that's the industry that I'm familiar with and know all the roles in and know people in, so it felt like a good starting point. Mm-hmm. And the intention is to add more industries as time goes on as well. So we're starting here to work it out and to start to grow it and get some momentum, and then we'll add more industries over time as well. We've got a good range of insiders from across roles in that sort of broader industry and levels of experience as well. So some people who are in their second year in the industry to tell you what it's like in the early days, and other people who have 20 plus years experience on there as well and have changed roles a lot. So there's quite a breadth of experience and the different parts of the industry that people have worked in as well.
That's really good to know, because our MDZ members are very diverse and they're really interested in very different things. So that kind of like diversity on the platform is amazing for us. Yeah, so is there any tips that you might have for students on how they can get the most out of this platform?
The things that have been working so far is it's really good to do some research ahead of time and to I guess try to understand as much about the insider and their role as you can before you go in. They've got bios in there that describe what they do and the things they've worked on and where they work. Their LinkedIn pages and portfolios and articles they've written, things like that are on there, so you can find out a bit about the person before you meet them.
Oh, awesome.
And so that's really just to, I guess, get a lot of the more general questions out of the way so that people understand what the person studied, how they got to where they are a little bit, so that they can ask really specific questions once they get on the call. Because it's sort of anywhere from half an hour to an hour, depending on how much time the insider can offer. We want to make that really impactful and get into really deep kind of insidery conversations as quickly as possible. So really getting into the kind of more insightful advice that they can share. So yeah, I guess prepare some questions ahead of time and do some research just to get as much out of the time as you can. It also really helps the insider do some preparation and think about their answers and what they can offer as well, so that they're coming prepared. So again, that time is as useful to both sides as it can be. And then the last thing would be yourself and be relaxed. The good thing about this is it's not a job interview, so you don't have to feel stressed about, performing. I guess you can just be much more relaxed in yourself, because it's really just one curious person who has some questions they want to ask and another just really friendly person who might have the answers. It's not a presentation, it's not a job interview, so you can just kind of be relaxed and have a conversation. So yeah, it's a cliche, but just kind of try relax and be authentic, and I guess you'll get the most out of it that way.
That was some really good advice for our students. They'd really appreciate that, actually. Yeah, I find that when you do a little bit more research about another person, it also helps you to find ways to kind of build that meaningful connection with them. Yeah, thank you so much for telling us a little bit more about Insidery. It's been really helpful, and I'm sure our students would really appreciate it. So
yeah, thank you.